have a look at which fillet knife is the best one under $50. I have bought and tested and tested and tested and tested for over a year at this point, and I think I have made some definite choices on which one I recommend for you to purchase. So we're going to go through the list of each of these fillet knives, all of which are available on Amazon, by the way, from cheapest up in price class, and we're going to see which uses will fit best for which of the knives. So let's start on the cheap end with Amazon Basics fillet knife right here. So I purchased this knife specifically because it was so cheap, and I wanted to see how this knife compares to all other knives and that are a little bit more expensive perhaps. So first things first, using this knife is surprisingly good. Like, this is full tank constructions, it's sharp upon arrival, it holds up nicely. However, there seems to be some quality control issues with this knife. As you can see here, it's not exactly straight, so the lower portion of this knife doesn't actually cut all the way through stuff because it kind of stops. If that makes sense. However, buying a knife for like $13 that is full tank construction, it is an amazing find. So perhaps if you are super strapped on money, this could be the one for you. However, if you have a little bit more to spare, we can move up in price a little bit to the Babish knife. I think this one lays between, like, all these knives are going to range, right? That's why I've placed them from cheapest to most expensive, so you can kind of get an idea of what it's like from the 10s all the way up to 50, sometimes over 52. So next up, anyway, we have the Babish knife. This one I have seen between $20 to $30 in general. So first of all, this knife suffers from a lot of the same problems that these cheap knives do. It is control assurance issues. This one as well was dirty. I had to wash it very thoroughly before I started using it. It was a little bit scuffed up as well. Perhaps it was returned, who knows? Anyway, I figured I'd mention it because I think it's quite important that you know how my experience was from the start. Anyway, as I've been testing this knife out, this is one that I've started to like more and more and more. Also, it's kind of cool that it's actually made by another YouTuber that I used to watch back in the days. Babish Culinary Universe. Anyway, it has a very minimalistic appearance to it. Super sharp for being a fully forged knife. It is also surprisingly light. And if you can see the blade on this one compared to, for example, Amazon Basics knives, you can see that is also a lot thinner, the actual blade. So if you are someone who struggles a little bit with weight, or you just like a thin, sleek, minimalistic looking knife in general, the Babish knife is definitely a great option for you. What I do not like so much about this knife, personally, is that it's very slippery on the handle. It's not very ergonomic either. It looks super cool though. So Babish, great job on designing this knife. Next up, we have the Dexter-Russel 8-inch chef's knife. By the way, all of these are supposedly 8 inches. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on. Anyway, yeah. 8 inches, and you're probably asking yourself, Thor, what on earth happened to this knife? This one looks like it has been to hell and back. It kind of has. It came quite nice packaged, as has most of these knives. If I don't mention any specific about the packaging, just assume that it came perfectly packaged. However, this one, first of all, I tested it out like I have done with all of these other ones. Super good knife. You can see this one is not tank construction. For example, these ones, you can see the steel on these ones goes all the way to the bottom. So it's like forged out of one piece of steel. This one is just like stamped, and then they have stuck the knife into the blade. So you can see it's a very different design. It also has an entire plastic blade to it, which is not a bad thing. It means that the knife is a lot nicer to hold if you like lightweight knives, and frankly it's quite thin as well. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it. What I really love about this knife is this has probably maybe not the best one, but it is up there. And frankly, this is a knife that has been in the boathouse for the past 3 to 4 months. That's why it looks the way it does. I did test it out a bunch for cooking as well, and it functions totally fine for cooking. But you know what? This one has this anti-slip grip, and that means that I wanted to take it fishing, but I was traveling, so what I did instead was I gave it to my father. And he has been testing it out. His feedback about this knife was that it works fantastically for commercial fishing as well. You can see that it has started rusting. That doesn't really matter. What does matter a little bit is that the blade started chipping. Now, this has been going through a lot of bones. Commercial fishing, it gets rough treatment, so high carbon steel and not always the best. But yeah, it's a great knife overall. But for the price, usually you can find this between 29 perhaps to $35. So, I mean, it's not an expensive knife. It's definitely a great beater knife. I'll go through them, like what I would use them for after we just talked about all of them quite briefly here. Anyway, next up here we have the MOSFiATA. This one looks a lot like a zebra would, and that kind of put me off to this knife when I purchased it. However, I have grown to like this knife more and more and more. Like the other ones, it came in beautiful packaging. What was cool about this one though, was that it came with a great sheath. So if you don't like your knives laying there bare, or you don't have anywhere to put them, this one comes with a fantastic sheath. On top of that, you also get a sharpener with this knife, as well as like a little cut guard so you don't cut yourself like I do so much myself. I'm a fisherman, by the way, home cook, love cooking, especially seafood. Like I said, the knife looks ridiculous, but it is quite good. It's also only $40, and with all these accessories, that means that you get quite a good deal for this one. You can see tank construction, quite good steel. It wasn't so sharp out of the box, which was quite disappointing to me. Already I had kind of a bad impression of it, because this isn't wood either. It's actually plastic, and then it has the fake like Damascus steel look. But once I sharpened it up, it has held up totally fine. There is nothing wrong with this knife. It just looks ridiculous, put it like that. Next in line we have the imarku 8-inch chips knife. And if you are anything like me, you are wondering, Thor, is this thing really 8 inches? And to be honest with you, I haven't measured it and I'm not sure, but it said it's 8 inches in ad. If you look at the blade length, however, I don't know if I would call that an 8-inch knife. However, I don't care. Like, if it's 7 inches instead of 8, that's fine. Upon the inspection when it arrived, it's a great knife. It comes with full tank construction like most of these other ones does. A nice wooden grip, comfortable to hold, comfortable to use, as well as being a little bit smaller. It also has this little dent inwards here, so that it's very nice if you like to use a pinch grip as you cook. I will say that this one is quite cool. I think this is a great knife. It's lightweight, it feels good in the hand. So if you're a small person, perhaps this one is for you. Also quite cheap, $40. It doesn't come with any accessories though, like this previous one. Next up in line here we have the Mercer. This is a famous brand as well, and they make knives in most price classes. However, this is one that's, I think it's called Renaissance, and it's about $35 to $40, maybe even $50. Like I said, this ranges so much, but if you can get this one at around $40, I think it's a great value as well. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this knife. It came in nice packaging. You can see it's full tank construction. It has a plastic grip and it's kind of boxy, so it's not as comfortable to hold as some of the other ones. However, if you like the boxy grip, this one is quite okay. There is another knife in this series that has square look that is not good, but this one has rounded corners as well, which is quite nice. It's surprisingly light for being a forged knife, probably like middle of the range in heaviness, I'd say. You can use it in any way you want to. It feels good. It's like great all-around beater knife, sharp out of the box, holds up super well. I'm quite impressed with this knife. It's like so average. That's how I would put this knife. If you like average, then this is a great average knife as well. And next up, we have the Victorinox Fibrox 8-inch. And this is one that I'm super excited to talk about. If you watched my fillet video from 2 years ago, you know that I'm a big fan of the Victorinox brands. It's also the ones that we generally use in the boat. So, of course, I had to buy this one. This one was not that expensive. It depends like a bunch of these other knives, but I think you can get it at around $40. However, this knife is quite interesting because I don't know what's the deal with these Victorinox Fibrox knives, because they don't come with proper packaging. It was the same issue with the fillet knife that I bought back in 23. It just comes in this little plastic sheet, and that does not protect the knife properly. So they always come a little bit scuffed up. Not that it really matters, but I mean, I like to mention it because I feel like if I buy a new knife and it's like already scratched up, it's like you buy a car and drive it off the lot and then you realize, oh no, that's already scratched up, right? Yeah, it's not good. Packaging, terrible on these knives. However, if you can get past that whole packaging fiasco, the knife itself is great. You can see like the Dexter knife, this one is isn't forged either. It is like stamped steel. That means that it's also very light, and they are able to use a plastic grip like this one. This one is, I would compare this knife a lot to the Dexter one, in that you can see they are both with plastic grips, and you can see they both look quite dirty, and you probably know why. I'm going to tell you soon. Anyway, cooking with this thing in the kitchen is fantastic as well. Straight all around knife. It doesn't really lend itself to pinch grip much, but if you like, the handle is incredibly comfortable to hold. The knife is light, it is super sharp out of the box, and it stays sharp for a long time. I don't know, I feel like Victorinox, perhaps the blade is a little bit the steel is a little bit softer than some of the other knives. I don't know, it's just my experience, but they don't chip very easily either. So like you saw earlier, I gave this to my father, what's it called, Dexter, and he used these like side by side, and you can see which one has held up the best. They've been sharpened the same amount of times. They have been used exactly the same, so about 3 months. And you can see the Victorinox has held up incredibly well under super, super heavy commercial fishing use, breaking to big bones. So this thing really lends itself just as well to actual commercial use as it does to just home cooks. Obviously, I'm not the professional cook myself, so having the option to take this with me to the boathouse, just buying a separate one probably, it would be ideal for you as well. So if you need something that you can just use for anything, lightweight, super easy to use, very trusted brand, Victorinox, world famous, lasts forever. This one is 20 years old. It has been used for commercial fishing. This is my father's first knife. You see how well it holds up? First Victorinox knife, that is, not first knife overall. This is a 10-inch version though. But I wanted to say that like these ones are indestructible, and they don't rust either. So it's quite awesome. I mean, they rust, but not like the other ones. Next in line, we have the PAUDIN knife. Also comes with a sheath. Now this one also came in beautiful packaging, unlike the Victorinox. And in addition to that, it has quite a handy little sheath. I like this sheath quite a lot actually. But if we look past the sheath and take this out of the box, this one was also beautifully presented when I took it out of the packaging. You can see the knife just screams quality. It's full tang construction, a forged blade. It has a wooden grip. And this wooden grip is probably my favorite out of the lot, frankly. It sits really nice in the hand too. The knife, surprisingly light. It is surprisingly sharp. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure if this is just like printed on. But in either case, this knife has held up incredibly well between sharpenings as well. This section here, like where it would be like a bolster-ish, is kind of weird because you don't cut yourself much with this one. Unlike some of the other ones, I am not a very careful person and I keep cutting myself. However, that also means that it works, but it's kind of awkward to pinch grip this one because that thing kind of sticks up there. But I mean, it's a well-balanced knife. It's awesome. I really like this one. It is in the same price class as the Victorinox, so around $40. But like all the other ones, it ranges from like the upper 30s to like the mid 40s. Super weird system, Amazon. But yeah, with the sheet, I think this is a great deal as well. And I'm back. Sorry about that. Just needed a quick break there, guys. It's quite heavy. I've been recording 10 videos already today, making individual videos for all of these knives too. If you want more detail on some of the specific ones, I'm going to link that at the end of the video too. And next there we have the HOSHANHO. Actually, this is one of the ones that I was super excited about buying. Once we open it up, you can see it's very differently shaped than, for example, this PAUDIN, which is the one I would compare this the most to. Both beautiful wooden grips, a full tang construction. But what's so interesting about this one is its shape. I think this knife is specifically made to use with a pinch grip. So it's so fun. I have had so much fun using this knife to cut up, especially vegetables. Like, not that I'm an expert. Like, I'm a normal guy. I just like cooking, right? As I open it up, the first thing I noticed when I lifted it up was that this one is quite heavy. Frankly, it's also full tang construction, forged blade, but it has that interesting shape, right? And you can see it in the handle here, beautiful wooden handle, also very high quality. Not as high quality as the PAUDIN, I think, but it's still really nice to hold. It's kind of weird to hold this as a normal grip knife. It kind of lends itself best to pinch knife, grip knife. So, yeah, there is that. Besides that, it has good weight as well. It's a very strange knife. Sharpness wise, blade knife, super nice knife. It's extremely sharp and it lends itself very well for cutting up vegetables and stuff. Let's move over to the blade itself. It is also very high quality steel, like most of these knives are. As you can see here, it has kind of this strange color towards the edge of it. I don't know if that's just fake or if that is like real, whatever. Anyway, it is sharp. It was sharp upon arrival. Super sharp knife, one of the sharpest ones. The blade holds the sharpness super well too. I have had no problems with this knife at all, and it's always a knife that I'm so excited about pulling out of my shelf. But it is, like I said, I don't know. If we compare it to, for example, the PAUDIN, or I think also we could compare it to the imarku. These are quite nicely related with the wood grip and forged steel. I would say that this one it has less use cases, to put it like that. But for specialized use cases, if you like the pinch grip, I think this one is a super cool knife. We can talk a little bit more about it afterwards. As for the price for this one, it's also one of these weird things. Like, it ranges from like 30 to 65. If you can get it for like 50, I think this is a great deal. This one feels really nice and high quality. It is one of the knives that I think I'm the most proud of pulling out when I have guests. Like, just cut up some vegetables. I think this one looks awesome. I'm not so proud if I were to take this one out. I think they would get like tetanus or something staying and eating with me. Anyway, moving on here, we have the Cutluxe 18 chef knife. And to be honest with you, this one I bought before the rest of these ones. So these ones I've had for 13 months. This one, nearly 2 years at this point. If you have watched my monkfish cooking series, this is the one I use in all of the videos there. So let me try to think back how my experience was opening it. Yes, Cutluxe, it's like the Apple experience. Like, you open it up and you're like, oh, smells like a new electronic. Also came with a little cleaning cloth, which was pretty cool. I think now, if you buy this now, you also get a sheet to come with this one. I did not, so Cutluxe, please send. Anyway, opening it up, like most of these knives, it was a great experience. There was no faults with this knife as I pulled it up. But what's weird about this knife compared to all these other ones is that this one is so heavy. This is probably the heaviest one out of all of them, I think. Second place, I would probably put something like the... frankly, I think it's probably the previous one, the HOSHANHO knife. Sounds very Japanese. I don't know if it is. Like, by the way, as you probably noticed, I don't say like where these are made, because frankly, I don't care where they're made as long as they work properly. That's all that matters to me. Anyway, as I pull it out, yeah, super heavy. It also is full-time construction, nice forged blade, feels super heavy, heaviest one out of all of them. And I will say that if you can't handle the weight of a heavy knife, this one is maybe not for you. However, if you want a knife that just feels like quality, I think this one could be an excellent choice for you. It feels really nice in the hand. It has a big wide grip, as you can see here. The wood is not as nice as some of these other knives. I would probably rate it as the worst wooden knife, like wood quality wise, out of all of them. I would say that the PAUDIN feels the best, probably wood wise. However, width wise, the grip on this one, if you have a big hand, this one may actually be the best one for you, I think. Besides that, its construction makes it feel very comfortable to use different ways. For example, if you like the pinch grip, this one feels great for that. It is a little bit sharp here at the edge, and I have cut myself multiple times with it over the years. Keep in mind, but many of these knives are like that. The sharpness and the steel has held up insanely well on this one. Like I said, I had it for 2 years, and I used it like daily for many months, and only need to sharpen it to keep it like extra sharp, maybe once a month, if even that. Could probably get away with like every other month if you don't cut through a lot of like bones and stuff. This one, definitely sharp, and it looks beautiful too, I think. Overall, I would say that this is a great knife. Now, it is up there in the price class too. When I bought it, I think it was $50, but this is also one of these that range. When I checked today before starting this recording. I think it was $40. So definitely if we can catch it for that price, it's excellent. And next in line, or last in line we should say, we have the HENCKELS 8-inch chef's knives. It's the same knife as another brand called Twillings, which is also a quite famous brand. This is like their cheaper version of knives. However, it's not cheap. It's probably the most expensive out of all of this. I bought it for exactly $45, but I have seen it all the way up to $65. So keep that in mind. But if you can get it on the lower end there, it's great. So my experience with this one, the same as all of these other ones, like great opening experience. However, what surprised me about this one was that when I opened it, like the sharpening, it was a little bit uneven up top when I bought it. I don't want to talk too bad about it because it is a good knife, but it's very boxy. How can I put it? Like, it's so square. If you look at it, like the handle, it doesn't feel comfortable in the hand at all. Let's compare it to the Mercer, which I think is looks-wise, not use case-wise at all, the most similar in looks. You can see this one has a very similar handle, but you can see it's kind of filed off, so the Mercer is a lot more comfortable to hold in your hand than the HENCKELS knife. So I don't know what to say about this knife, really. It's very sharp. It has this bolster as well, which makes it super awkward. You cannot use it to pinch anything. But, I mean, it's the sharpest knife out of all of them. Personally, this isn't the knife for me. If you want like a super, super sharp knife from a high-quality brand, maybe this one could be for you. But like I said, it's very sharp and it just feels so boxy. Sorry, I don't want to like talk too badly about any knives because these are great knives. Like if someone gave me this knife, I would be super happy with it. I would just have sometimes a little bit sore hands from this sharp edges. Okay, so we have gone through all 11 knives. I've told you about my experience using them over the year. 2 years, and now I finally want to give you a recommendation for which one of these that you should get, and I have a few suggestions for you based on your use cases. You may have made up some thoughts yourself, but let me just share what I think you should get depending on how you think. First of all, let me just say that this is obviously biased on my end, but this is not biased based on any company. I have purchased every single one of these knives for my own money. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add paid links to Amazon down in the video description. So if you do decide to purchase any of these knives, please use those links so I can recuperate some of this money. This has been a very expensive endeavor, but I really wanted to share this with you guys. So let's start on the cheap end here. If you have no money at all and you just want a good usable knife, the Amazon Basics knife is a great option for you. There are no frills about it, but it comes with full tank construction. It is sharp. Make sure you watch out for production errors, however. If you have a tiny bit more money, meaning $10 more, and you can catch this on the lower end of the price that it ranges, under 25, I would say that the Babish knife is a fantastic option for you. Also, if you want something that just looks sleek and minimalistic, the Babish knife is probably the sleekest looking knife out of all of them. Super sharp. It's a great option. If you are going to take a knife and use it for more than just cooking, so let's say that you want a knife that you can maybe use on some animals, maybe break apart some chickens and stuff too. I think the Dexter one can be a fantastic option. It is quite cheap compared to the other one that I'm going to recommend for this type of use. And it usually comes in a little bit higher than the Babish knife at about $30. If you can get this one for $30, it's a fantastic knife that you can use for filleting, breaking apart animals and fish and that type of stuff. I mean, this channel is generally about fishing, so yeah, this one might be a good option for many of you. While we're already on the topic, let me just jump over to the Victorinox here. This one is a fantastic all-around knife, so if you have $10 more, perhaps that could be a better option for you. Let's jump back here. If you want something that comes with accessories, we need to jump up a tiny bit in price. So around $40, the MOSFiATA is the one that offers best value. If you want accessories like a sheet, sharpener, this is actually a surprisingly good sharpener too. It's like anti-slip and it's not going to slide away when you use it. You also get a little handguard so you don't get full of scars like me. The blade itself was not sharp upon arrival, but you can sharpen it up and it holds quite well like that. If you can get past the ridiculous look, this one is fantastic, and I think it's the best one that you can get if you want this extra stuff as well. Moving on here, we have the imarku. They tried to market this one as Japanese and it annoys me a little bit, but it is a great knife. If I compare it to one, it would probably be the PAUDIN knife. These are very similar. However, the PAUDIN is a little bit bigger, and people like, for example, my mother, she complained to me earlier that some of these knives can be a little bit heavy. So if you are someone, maybe you struggle a little bit with the weight, or you wish you had a knife that was a little bit more comfortable to use, I think you should pick up this one. imarku, it's a great knife. It's super sharp. Everything of it just screams quality, but it's a little bit smaller and it's quite light in the hand. So that could be a fantastic option for you if you want something that's smaller but still very functional. And the imarku knife comes in at around $40 generally as well, but it's hard to like base it on something. But for $40, it's hard to go wrong with this. It's a great knife. Next in line here, we have the Mercer. This is just a fantastic beater knife. Like, I have nothing wrong to say about the Mercer knife. This is the Mercer Renaissance, like I said. Works fantastically. It sits comfortably in hand. I think this is a great overall knife. I think the price where I purchased it was $37 or something, but I've seen it all the way up to $50. But it's still a good deal at $50. This is a quality knife. Moving on here, we have also, like I said earlier, the PAUDIN knife. This one is fantastic as well. If you want to purchase the PAUDIN knife, I think that's a fantastic way to go. This one screams quality. It has the best wood finish out of all of them. I'm not sure about this, like I said, if this is real or not, but it doesn't affect the functionality of the knife. Also, it comes with a great sheet. This is great value. I think I purchased this for $34, but I've seen it up to $44. But even for $44, this is a great knife. If you just want the best wood, go for this one. It's very hard to go wrong with this one. I think you will enjoy it quite a lot, especially coming with a sheet to steel for sure. Next, we have the HOSHANHO. Can't pronounce it. This one, it's very similar to the PAUDIN knife in quality and construction. The wood is not quite as nice, but it's really, really good as well. This knife, I would only buy it if you use the pinch grip. But if you want to purchase this one in combination with one of the other ones and you want to just use this when you pinch, this is by far the best pinch grip knife out of all of them. Super sharp, and I'm always excited to pull this knife out. Yeah, I really, really enjoy this knife overall. I can strongly recommend this one for pinch grip. It is a little bit more pricey though. I got it on an offer for $30, but like I said, I've seen it upwards of over $60. But if you can get it the lower end there, it's an amazing knife. Even at $60, I would say you're getting a great deal for this one. But like I said, I'm trying to make this review under $50. So yeah, but even over 50, I think this is a great, fantastic knife, if that's what you want. Next in line here, we have the Cutluxe knife. This one, I think, is the best overall value if you want something really, really nice in the kitchen. It's just so good. It feels amazing in my hand personally. I think if you don't like a little bit of a heavy knife, this one is not for you. But just overall looks, quality, feel, use cases, I think the Cutluxe knife is amazing value for the money, especially now that you get a sheath with it as well. You can't go wrong with this one. This one is so good. However, I don't think I would take this one down to the boathouse. So that's the drawback, I guess. But this is just a good quality, amazing knife. Last in line here, we have this PAUDIN knife. This is the sharpest one out of all of them, and it's made in Spain. As you notice, I really skimped past the Victorinox here, and that is because I would say, like, this is the best overall beater knife. You can't beat this. Well, you can beat it. You can beat it up. You could probably throw it around even. Don't try that, though. But yeah, this one is just indestructible. I have this other knife here. This is also a Victorinox knife. This one is 20 years old, and my father has used it in the boathouse. and on his fishing boat for over 20 years now. You can see it's a little bit rusty and it's been sharpened up and everything, like it's cracked to pieces, but it's still holding up, looking beautiful as ever, maybe even more beautiful. Has some character now. This knife, you can do anything with it. It's just gonna last you and last you and last you. And many professionals even use this, not only fishermen, but chefs. It's a great knife. What I don't like so much about it is it's a little bit clunky to pinch it, but just as like a great, great, great overall knife that you can use for everything. Victorinox Fibrox, $40, around 40 anyway. It's a steal. If you just want to purchase one, I would say one of these two. If you need something that you can use for fish, especially saltwater, go with this one. You can't go wrong with this one, but I don't think you can go wrong with the Cutluxe one either. If you want something that looks beautiful in the kitchen, get the Cutluxe one. If you don't care what it looks like, this one doesn't look as pretty, but it's indestructible. So my final recommendations, like I said, cheap and amazing knives. I wouldn't get this one, HENCKELS. If you like something that's light and easy to use, get this one. If you want something that's just amazing all around for any use cases and it's going to last you forever, get the Victorinox one. It's not that pretty, but it's a fantastic knife. If you want something that looks beautiful in the kitchen as well as it's just fantastic. I've had this for nearly 2 years and I've loved using it every single time. I think this is the best looking one and the best value for the money. If you want something that looks beautiful to keep in your kitchen, just want something that you can throw around and beat up, get the Victorinox. These two are my top choices. I'm going to add links down in the video description. Please use them if you want to purchase some of these knives. This has been so expensive to make. Anyway, if you like this video, this channel is generally all about fishing, mostly commercial fishing, but I also do some cooking stuff, only seafood though, every once in a while. So you can subscribe if you're into that. If that's not your thing, I really hope you have enjoyed my opinions about these knives. Like I said, I'm also going to add a playlist here where I go through each of the knives in a little bit more detail. You can see more of the unboxing process and stuff as well. So yeah, thanks for watching this video. And like I said, please check the links in the pinned comment as well as the video description. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.